Now let's move on to the strategy challenges for this week. Here, I will challenge you to make some strategic adjustments to your diet in order to really improve your overall nutritional status. For example, we'll talk about nutrient-dense foods. Our goal with this program is to steadily increase the amount of nutrient-dense foods you have in your diet while simultaneously weeding out the junk. Next, we'll discuss ideas about eating your food in a particular order throughout the day and timing meals appropriately so that you can get the most out of each meal. To eat is a necessity, but to eat intelligently is an art. In this next section, I'm going to give you 3 new strategy challenges for improving your diet this week so that you can eat like an artist. Strategy challenge number 1, focus on eating nutrient-dense foods. For week 1, our strategy is about ensuring that so much space in your diet is taken up by high-quality, nutrient-dense foods that there will barely be any room left for those high-calorie, low-quality foods that are draining your energy, breaking out your skin, and constipating your gut. So let's address this idea of calorie density versus nutrient density. What does it mean when I say a food is nutrient dense? Nutrient dense simply means that there is a higher nutrient content in the food compared to calorie content. Take broccoli, for example. It is considered to be a nutrient-dense food because it contains a very high vitamin, mineral, fiber, and water content compared to the amount of calories you get by eating it, which are very minimal. In fact, for many raw veggies like celery, you actually expend more calories in the process of chewing and digesting the vegetable than you receive from eating it. However, while you lose calories from eating celery, you gain nutrients. So if weight loss is your goal, then nutrient-dense foods are your new best friend. On the other end of the spectrum are calorie-dense foods. A calorie-dense food is one that contains more calories per serving compared to the bioavailable nutrients like vitamins and minerals. These are not inherently bad, as even the healthiest bodies seek out calorie-dense foods to satiate the body's energy needs, like after you get done with a really hard workout and the body craves a hearty meal. Unfortunately, many people have gotten used to consuming calorie-dense meals like meat and potatoes. And when you are not eating a sufficient amount of nutrient-dense foods, it is sometimes possible to develop nutrient deficiencies as well. It is possible to be overfed and undernourished at the same time. This focus on calorie-dense foods also leads to weight gain and inflammatory health conditions. This image of a food pyramid is what your diet will be for the next 4 weeks. So let's talk about this pyramid and how it's different from the food pyramid that you learned about back in elementary school days. In this week's course materials, I'll include a PDF file with a picture of this pyramid. If you have access to a color printer, I recommend printing this picture and posting it on the refrigerator or somewhere with high visibility in the kitchen. Nutrient-dense foods are the key to maintaining longevity and a healthy weight. Eat the foods at the bottom of this pyramid in abundance. And remember that there are so many possibilities for creating delicious and fulfilling meals while still following this pyramid. On the bottom of the pyramid, you have the most nutrient-dense foods. This category includes all of the non-starch, nutrient-dense veggies like kale, lettuce, broccoli, collard greens, chard, carrots, zucchini, herbs, peppers, onions, and garlic, just to name a few. As you continue up the pyramid, foods become more calorie-dense and less nutrient-dense. Consume them according to the space they occupy in the pyramid. You'll notice that on the second level, above the non-starch vegetables are 2 different categories: fruits and beans and legumes. These are encouraged in a healthy, balanced diet, but are not to exceed the amount of vegetables eaten. Vegetables should always be eaten in the greatest quantity compared to other groups. One rung up the ladder, we have seeds, nuts, and avocados, which is technically a fruit, but we put it in this category because it functions as a healthy fat source. On the same level, we also have whole grains and starch vegetables like potatoes. One rung up, we have the meat and concentrated oil group, for those of you who want to keep meat in the diet. This group includes eggs, oil, fish, wild or naturally raised animal products, and dairy. I have one adjustment here. For most people, I believe it is best to go ahead and scratch dairy. I won't be encouraging you to consume most forms of dairy at all during this nutrition challenge, and we'll get to the in-depth explanation of that later on in the program. As we continue up the pyramid, notice that commercially raised meats, sweets, cheese, and processed foods are at the top of the pyramid, indicating that these foods are to be consumed the least of all food groups. For week 1 of your detox, it is generally in your best interest to start focusing on healthier, more nutrient-dense foods. But even if you change nothing else about your diet, simply by adding in the foods and beverages that I recommend for week 1, you will see changes in your overall digestion, energy levels, weight, and skin health after just 1 week. Strategy challenge number 2. Eat light to heavy throughout the day. During this nutrition challenge program, we're going to attempt to increase both the overall quality and quantity of nutrients in the diet and do our best to get rid of anything that is standing in the way of optimal health. This means, of course, that we'll be focusing on consuming more nutrient-rich foods, but it also means strategizing the timing of when we eat so that we can get the most out of each meal. The way that different foods digest makes a difference when the goal is to optimize nutrition. Foods take different amounts of time to digest in our bodies. Fruits and non-starch vegetables break down the quickest in the digestive tract. Whole grains take a little bit longer, and meat is the slowest food group to break down. For this reason, we like to save meat consumption for the end of the day. When you keep the food intake light during the first part of the day, you allow your body to extend the fast from the night before. This fasting time, when you were not eating, was critical for your body to activate the detoxification pathways in your body. Fasting is cleanup time for the body, and when you extend that time in the morning, you are allowing your body more time to clean and recover. The ideal strategy for detoxification and ongoing cleansing is to eat as light as possible at the beginning of the day, and then allow meals to become heavier as you progress throughout the day. This is something that also increases metabolic flexibility over time. Strategy challenge number 3. I want you to put your best effort into eating only 3 meals per day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Eating only 3 times per day may take some getting used to, but the irony here is that the more time you have between meals, the more energy your body will designate for productive activity. Snacking throughout the day is a bit of a controversial topic for many people. Some people with higher metabolisms, especially athletes and people for whom it is difficult to gain weight, claim that they must eat multiple times per day in order to meet their caloric needs. And this is completely understandable. As energy expenditure rises, so does the need to replenish that energy in the form of calorie-dense foods. For this reason, this is not a hard and fast rule of good nutrition practice. It is, however, a helpful practice for anyone wanting to lose weight. For many adults, the goal is actually to reduce cell growth and ultimately to slow the aging process. Limiting meals is one effective way to do that. Also, it's harder for the body to do its daily job of detoxifying if you are constantly snacking or grazing throughout the day because your GI tract never gets the break it needs. The process of digestion can take up a significant amount of the body's energy in order to break down and assimilate foods. If your gut is always turned on because it's having to process every little snack that you eat every 2 hours, then it never gets a break until you fall into a state of unconsciousness at night. When the body doesn't get regular daily opportunities to detoxify the system, then the detoxification system becomes less efficient over time. With constant snacking, you lose touch with the sensation of genuine hunger, which is very important for the body to feel. And when the GI tract is clear and the stomach is truly empty, the sensation of taste is enhanced. Flavors and smells stand out more so that we are able to clearly discern exactly what the body wants based on intuition. Restriction and limitation can be good for the body, but we don't necessarily want to restrict nutrients. Instead, we can focus our attention on consuming copious amounts of nutrient-dense foods while restricting the time blocks in which we eat. This way, the process of eating becomes exponentially more beneficial for our health in the long run.